Hello there, Patrick Moran, host of the Moran-Alytics Podcast with the little Moran-Alytics Podcast Extra. This is a series that features audio content exclusive to this YouTube channel. You're not going to hear this on my podcast or anywhere else for that matter. Today, I want to hit on the 2019 Buffalo Bills rookie draft class. I'm going to break down just a little bit, at least, how they're doing so far with the Buffalo Bills as they are currently on the bye week. Of course, Buffalo is 4-1 very early on in the season, and this rookie class has played a pretty decent-sized role in a very promising start to the season. And before that, by the way, want to let you know that for more stuff like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button down just below and that pretty little bell next to it so you can get notifications when new audio content is released. Now, that being said, let's at least briefly take a look at each rookie and we'll discuss what he's done so far. And let's start right with the end of the Buffalo Bills draft, their last pick. And of course, that was Tommy Sweeney, the 14th pick of the 7th round. Tommy Sweeney's a kid who's kind of benefited from an injury to Tyler Kroft and maybe to a lesser degree, Jason Kroom, who may or may not have made the Buffalo Bills roster had he not been placed on injured reserve. Personally, I don't think he would have made the roster, and I think Tommy Sweeney would have made the 53-man regardless. Anyway, Sweeney had a very promising opening week. He had a big 29-yard catch in the season opening game against the New York Jets. So far in the season, he has 3 catches for 38 yards. Probably is going to fall down the depth chart some when Tyler Kroft comes back. In fact, I could easily see if Kroft is back and shows that he's healthy. You probably got Kroft, you got Dawson Knox, and you got Lee Smith. That's 3 tight ends right there. I could very easily see Tommy Sweeney starting to become a game day inactive for the Bills. But again, when you're picking in the middle of the 7th round, just making the roster itself is kind of an accomplishment. Staying in the 7th round, the Bills' first pick of the 7th round, they had 2. 11th overall in that round, Daryl Johnson. And I'll tell you what, man, this kid has been good. He beat out Eddie Yarborough, who's a defensive end that I like a lot at training camp. And he probably beat out, we'll never know for sure, but he probably beat out Mike Love as well. Mike Love was having a very strong training camp in preseason, just like Daryl Johnson, but he tore his pectoral muscle in the preseason finale against Detroit. So he was placed on injured reserve. But anyway, Johnson has definitely carved out a role for himself on this team. 6 tackles this year. Had his first NFL sack in that win at Tennessee last week. I think the kid's looking better every week, and he's part of a rotation. Sean McDermott likes to play his entire defensive line. He likes to rotate him, so the kid is starting to get more snaps, and as we saw against Tennessee, he's starting to take advantage of it. Starting to take a nice little role for himself on this team. I like this kid a lot. Next 2 picks, really no impact on the season so far. Jaquan Johnson was the 8th pick of round 6. Doesn't have any stats. He was inactive the first 3 games. I believe he's been active the last 2, but hasn't really had an opportunity to do anything yet. And then Vosean Joseph, the 9th overall pick in round 5. He was placed on IR before the season even started with a shoulder injury. So his season ended before it could get going. Strong side linebacker. Maybe he has a role on this team going forward after the season with Lorenzo Alexander not being around forever. Although who the hell knows with Lorenzo Alexander, because that dude looks like he could play until he's about 50 right now. But anyway, nothing cooking for Vosean Joseph this year. Here's the Bills didn't have, by the way, they didn't have a pick in the 4th round. Originally, they did have 2. However, they traded both of them, picks 112 and pick 131, to move up to 96 near the end of round 3. And they went out and they got Dawson Knox, which I thought that pick was a little peculiar at first, giving up 2 guys to move up for 1 tight end who never even had a touchdown in college. But I'll tell you what, man, Dawson Knox has been pretty goddamn good for Buffalo so far this season. He's already got 10 catches, 186 yards, and a touchdown through 5 games. In fact, you know what? He's already had more receiving yards this year. Again, 186 through 5 games. And Charles Clay did for Buffalo last year, and he played 13 games. Clay only had 181 last year. Knox already has 186. And Clay only had, I should say, 21 catches in 13 games. So the tight end was not a weapon for Buffalo whatsoever last year, and that has definitely not been the case so far with Dawson Knox. He's been a weapon. He's had some pretty big moments, especially that 49-yard catch Remember when Buffalo almost blew the game against Cincinnati in week 3? It was Dawson Knox who took that short pass from Josh Allen and ran over 2 dudes, not 1, 2 Cincinnati Bengal dudes on a big 49-yard play. That led to the winning points in that game. So, and he's also, by the way, he's been a pretty good blocker as well so far this season. There's been a downside with him, of course, and that is he's definitely had a case of the dropsies. He's dropped a couple passes, and I feel like that might be an issue going forward for a while, but still, all in all, this kid really has he doesn't just have potential. I feel like Dawson Knox has star potential on this team. You know, and I'd also like to point out, not every superstar tight end in the NFL comes into the league as a high first-round draft pick, destined for greatness, a big blue-chip prospect. You look at a handful of some of the greatest tight ends in the NFL right now, and they weren't blue chippers. George Kittle, you know, arguably the best tight end in the NFL, if not Travis Kelce. Kittle's only a 5th-round pick. Travis Kelce was only a 3rd-round pick. Zach Ertz, a 2nd-round pick. So I kind of see some similarities in a way with Dawson Knox. This kid has like all the physical gifts in the world right now. I can see him having a very good career. I kind of want to, I want to pump the brakes just a little bit here. There's a reason why he lasted to the 3rd round, or maybe there is anyway. Maybe just a lot of teams missed on him, but he's got a lot to learn, and maybe he should take a backseat a little bit. In fact, he probably will take a backseat a little bit when Tyler Kroft comes back to this lineup, which again, that could be soon. I don't think that'll hurt Dawson Knox's development at all. I'm very interested in seeing how this kid progresses. I like him a lot. Other pick of the 3rd round, 11th overall, Devin Singletary. Look, eyebrows were definitely raised when Brandon Beane took Devin Singletary in the 3rd round. Although I'll tell you what, in hindsight, now that we have the benefit of hindsight, it should have been clear since, like, quite literally, the second the Buffalo Bills signed Frank Gore on the first day of free agency, he didn't just fall into their lap, hanging around the free agent wire for weeks looking for a job. They signed him on day 1 of free agency. And you know why they did that? They did that because Brandon Beane had a plan in place. Definitely had a plan in place that would involve Gore becoming the short-term feature guy, and more importantly, a mentor, and that they were going to go get a young back in this draft, and that would probably mean saying goodbye to LaShawn McCoy. As soon as whoever the rookie would be, of course, it was Singletary, as soon as he showed in camp and preseason that he could play, that he's ready to be an NFL rookie and get some snaps, that they would probably cut LaShawn McCoy. That's exactly what happened. We were all surprised, but in hindsight, we probably shouldn't have been. Anyway, Singletary, great promise early on. I mean, he's only played 2 games, but he has run for 127 yards on just 10 carries with a touchdown, 5 receptions he had in the season opener. Before he got hurt, I remember saying, why is this kid not touching the ball more? Clearly, Buffalo was, they made a decision to bring him along slowly. I really like this kid a lot. And I mean, look, he's no Alvin Kamara. He doesn't have Alvin Kamara explosiveness, but he's really elusive. He looks like a kid who's going to be a very good running back in the NFL. And of course, unfortunately, hurt his hamstring late in that Giants game, so he's missed the last 3 weeks. Hopefully, he will be back this coming week after this bye, and there's a lot of reasons to be excited about him. It's conceivable that 3-4 years from now, we look back at this draft class and Devin Singletary might be the best player in this entire draft class for Buffalo. Moving to the 2nd round. 6th in the round, 38 overall. Buffalo actually moved up 2 spots from 40. They traded up with Oakland, giving up a 5th rounder, and they took Cody Ford. This kid is a conundrum. He really is, because, all right, he's being platooned right now with Ty Nsekhe at right tackle. I hate that concept. I hate that idea. And Cody Ford, I'm trying to be nicer. He's really struggled, okay? You don't need to be a guru. You don't need to be a film analyst expert to see that. He has really struggled. You have to wonder if he's meant to play right tackle in the NFL right now. And I don't even see, it's easy to say, well, he's just a rookie. I don't even know if once he gets experience, is he going to be able to deal with these edge rushers that are a lot faster than him? I just don't think Cody Ford is fast enough to get into blocking space to be an effective tackle. Again, he's graded really poorly. Everything I've read, Joby from The Athletics got him like 29th out of 34 Buffalo Bills who've had enough snaps. Pro Football Focus has him graded very lowly. And again, you don't need to be an expert to see that. All you got to do is have a set of eyeballs, man. Having said that, though, okay, I'm not even close to being down on the kid. Not going to throw in the towel on a rookie after 5 games who has as much potential as Cody Ford. I do like him. I just like him better as a guard. I think he can become a mauler at guard in the NFL. And the Bills are kind of set up for him to have a future at guard. John Feliciano has played very well at right guard. Quinton Spain has kind of struggled a little bit at left guard, although he's been all right. But anyway, these are 2 stopgap guys, man. They're not long-term solutions to Buffalo at guard. They could easily change course is what I'm saying. And they could put Cody Ford in at guard, hope that Ty Nsekhe can get the job done for the rest of the season at right tackle, and then maybe during the offseason you go out and you find yourself, whether it's free agency or the draft again, a legitimate right tackle. I like Cody Ford a lot. I just do not like him at right tackle whatsoever. And that does bring us to the last pick, the biggest pick, the first pick, 9th overall in the draft, Ed Oliver. I'll tell you, man, what is it? 5, 6, 7 months later, whatever it is, I still kind of feel like Buffalo committed highway robbery. This kid falling to him with the 9th pick. I love Ed Oliver. And I know you're going to look at his stats and say they kind of suck, and you'd be right. I mean, he's only got 11 tackles in 5 games, 0 sacks. I certainly want to see him start to put up some numbers, but he's still making impact plays right now. He's impacting games. The stats are going to come. They really are. I feel confident in saying that. He's holding his own right now as a rookie, and his ceiling is ridiculously high. You know who he reminds me a lot of? Different type of player, but the same kind of scenario is Tremaine Edmunds. Tremaine Edmunds last year, a first-round pick, played okay, had so-so numbers, showed flashes of being a great player, but didn't completely put it together as a rookie. But you could see that he was going to be a great player. And now so far in year 2, Tremaine Edmunds is killing it. Tremaine Edmunds looks like he could become a Pro Bowl middle linebacker right now for the Buffalo Bills. I kind of feel like that is the same path that Ed Oliver's headed on. He's not putting up numbers right now, but he is showing flashes. He is making some plays. And I feel like as he gets more experience, and again, playing defensive tackle, just like playing middle linebacker in the NFL, not very easy, man. You're going against veteran centers and veteran guards, getting double teamed a lot. It's not an easy position to play in the NFL, especially as a rookie. So he's showing flashes, but I feel like going into towards the end of the year, he's going to get better. And then in his sophomore year next year, I feel like this guy could become an elite player. I felt that way at the time, and I especially feel like that now after watching him play for the first 5 weeks. So there is your Buffalo Bills 2019 rookie class through 5 games. Admittedly, just a sample size. No real standouts quite yet, but plenty of contributions and a boatload of promise. What do you think of this draft class right now? How do you think they're performing? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Also, again, make sure you hit that little red subscribe button down underneath, that little bell next to it so you can get notifications when new audio content is released. Thanks for listening again.
I'll catch you on the flippity flip. Bye.